Imagine this. You're in a hallway full of doors, and every door leads to some kind of asset or something that you want. You don't know what's behind the doors, but you have to make a choice. Regardless of what you find behind the door you choose, you're still going to be wondering, what was behind the other doors? Are you sure you didn't make the best choice? Now imagine if there were 50, 100, or even 1,000 doors to choose from. Something's telling me that despite the fact that you found something that you wanted, you might not be completely satisfied because you'd feel that you could have gotten something better. The more choices we have, the more of a luxury it becomes. But at the same time, the more difficult it is for us to make a decision. This is the paradox of choice. That feeling of disappointment that you would have is exactly what happens to us every day without us even noticing. Barry Schwartz, an American psychologist, wrote a book called The Paradox of Choice: Why Less is More. And he goes on to describe the condition of the abundance of choice we have, especially within Western societies. Basically, what this book describes is the more choices we have, the more difficult it is to make a decision, and ultimately, the more dissatisfied we become with our choice after it's been made. This is especially the case when you find out that there were better options available, which can bring about a fear of missing out, also known as FOMO, in the decisions that we make. There are a few concepts of the paradox of choice. Number one, nowadays, there's almost an infinite amount of choices we have, from the grocery store to insurance plans to banking options. The amount of variation we have is increasing at an insane speed. Number two, the overload of choice means that we all feel a heavier responsibility for the choices that we make, because nobody wants to make a wrong decision. Number three, the usual satisfaction that we would get from making a choice decreases with the more choices we have. And this is simply because the negative feelings we have towards FOMO, or we can also call this opportunity cost, increases as we doubt ourselves if we've made the right decision or not. Having too much choice leads to us becoming dissatisfied with our own choices, and we put the blame of dissatisfaction on ourselves. This leads to a poorer and more depressed outlook on life. Where do we go from here? So we're all spoilt for choice. We have difficulty making a decision and aren't likely to be satisfied with the choice that we make. This feeling is further emphasized when your friends tell you that you made a bad choice and that there are so many better options out there. So what can you do about this? The concept that you should bear in mind here is being a satisficer versus being a maximizer. A satisficer is somebody who makes the decision based on whether it fits their own minimum criteria. In other words, whether a choice is good enough for them or not, irrespective of if it's the best option available. On the other hand, a maximizer is somebody who examines all potential choices in order to select the absolute best option possible. The decision is primarily based on evaluating external sources of information, rather than on their own criteria that they have for satisfaction. What research has actually found is that maximizers are more likely to feel regret or dissatisfaction with their purchase. Additionally, it's also been found that they have a lower self-esteem and tend to be perfectionists. On the flip side, satisficers will typically be pleased with their selection and are less likely to encounter feelings of regret from their decisions. So what can we take away from this? Well, when you work your way through the myriad of options available to you, judge from the perspective of whether the product is the best for you, not the best possible. What a lot of companies are doing right now in order to combat the paradox of choice is they're not limiting the available choices, but they're providing users with relevant and more targeted options. What comes to mind here is the smart algorithms that large tech companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, and so on like to use to present the options and information that we would more likely be satisfied with. This is why there is such a push for smart algorithms that limit the number of choices that we have to what we would be most pleased with, based on criteria of our searches. The paradox of choice also comes with what's known as decision fatigue. Now, you might have heard of this. This is where the more decisions you have to make throughout the day, the more difficult it gets to further make decisions as the day goes on. And there's a reason why Steve Jobs chose to wear the same shirt every day, or why Mark Zuckerberg does the same too. It's because they don't want to waste their time on small, insignificant decisions. They'd rather save their decision making to what's really important. Now you can also take that into your life as well and do the exact same thing. It's not about not enjoying your life, but it's more about using your energy and focus on things that are more important to you, instead of taking 30 minutes to decide what to eat for breakfast or what to eat for lunch. Sometimes we're spoiled for choice, but we need to take a step back and keep things simple. Don't let something that's meant to give you more freedom and enjoyment in life be the very thing that makes you unhappy. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you found this useful. Please drop a like and make sure to subscribe to our channel below and follow us on our social media. Also visit us at thetopessentials.com, where you can find out more ways to live your best life. See you next time.